This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
If you're a facilities manager at a university, you know students rely on the cafeteria for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and the occasional late-night snack. So when a dishwasher breaks down and dirty plates pile up, the mess hall can turn messy in the blink of an eye. Enter Grainger. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast delivery, the product you need now is never far away. So you can turn that dishwasher back into a lean, clean washing machine. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
And we think about growth, but the key component for us to move forward is really the consumer. Without them, we don't have anything. So it's important to try to understand how our brain is wired and then act accordingly.
Good afternoon, good day, good evening. I don't know what time you're listening or where you're listening from. It's your boy, your host, NaRon Tillman, and you are with me for another episode of Walk in Victory. Speaking of victory, walk.
Warning, this is a public service announcement. The Walk in Victory podcast is where we have conversations purposed to evolve lives. You may not want to evolve. Then tune into another bleeping podcast. Everyone else, enjoy the show. And here's our host.
Good afternoon, good day, good evening. I don't know what time you're listening and or where you're listening from. It's your boy, your host, NaRon Tillman, and you are with me for another episode of Walk in Victory. Speaking of victory walks, we are living in an evolution. You're going to keep hearing me say this, and I'm going to repeat it over and over again. If you're listening, you're going to either take heed or you're going to miss out. We have 3.5 years. Everybody repeat after me. 3.5 years. We have a small window, a nice little landing. In this year, you need to do everything that you can to learn about AI. The next year, by the end of the year, you should be implementing AI into your business. And in 2026, 2027, you would be the top of the food chain, because although we hear AI, so you have a chance to build wealth industry, whether it's in real estate, insurance, restaurant, anything that you can think of. There's an ability to be assisted in AI. We're going to talk today because we have conversations that evolve lives, and we sit you at the feet of the masters about some of the things that you should be thinking about, even from your customers, your customer base, and how your customers are thinking. And I have to revise it. I did a program called The Mindful Marketer, and I took digital marketing. AI is going to even expand past digital marketing. Like the old, don't be Blockbuster, don't be Sears. I'm telling you, it's happening. It's happening right before our eyes. I was fortunate enough, before I even talk, I was fortunate enough to live through the dot-com era. I was young, benefit from the dot-com era, but I was fortunate enough to see the dot-com era. The Dallas Mavericks, who's owned by, I can't remember his name, but Mark Cuban. That's how he made his money. And I think, and I could be wrong, but I rather veer on the side of wrong that it doesn't matter your color, creed, religious connotations, sexuality. None of this matters because this boom is faceless. It's just who's going to be, and you don't have to be first neither. So don't think you got to be the first on the mark. You don't have to be first. You just got to know who your audience is. You got to know who your customers are because your customers already buying from you. And now you want to take your customers to a new era, and they're going to be the ones that champion you for doing it. But a lot of people don't know their customers. Again, so I built this thing, and it's called the Mindful Marketer, and the whole lesson is on understanding your customer base and your customer model, being mindful of your customer, their pain points, not just one customer. Because when we usually talk about building customer avatars, a lot of people are so lazy that they build one customer avatar, or they say what I have is for everybody. What you have is not for everybody. We got a great guest. How are you today?
Shahar, yes. Pretty good. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. Can you talk to our audience a little bit about what you do, as much as you would like to share, and we'll jump in from there.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say I'm really impressed that I knew the name of an owner of a sports team because I'm not a sports person.
You,
I'm impressed with myself. Yeah. So, well, my name is Shahar Boyaya. I'm originally from Brazil. I came to the US 20 years ago with my daughter, two bags, and a teddy bear.
mm,
And yeah, and it was one of the best decisions we made. The last 6 months I've been living in Puerto Rico, we decided to take 2 years out of the cold because Utah is pretty cold right now and enjoy a little bit of another kind of lifestyle. I've been consulting with businesses for about 35 years. I used to do that in my country as well. And I have this fascination for consumer behavior because being an entrepreneur, at the end of the day, you're always selling to someone. Even if you're in B2B, you're selling to someone. So if you don't understand how people think, what are they moving towards, it becomes very difficult. And like you said, we have a small window with AI. Yes, we hear a lot about it. Some people that are into the techie world will say, "Oh, this is all old news." But the fact is that the day-to-day person, the day-to-day entrepreneur, they're starting to get used to AI, and many times they don't even know they are using AI. But the fact is that we actually have a window of less than 2 years for the biggest change in behavior in humankind. It is a stronger change than we saw with COVID, which also changed the way we consume and do things and the things that we perceived as valuable. This is going to be bigger than that. And what's really interesting is that it is the first huge change in humanity that we actually have 5 different generations, not only living at the same time, but working at the same time. And we have to be aware of everything that is going on. And that's where AI comes in place because it's slowly becoming an extension of ourselves.
it's funny that you would say that. I had a guess, um, because I don't know how to really do my bio and everything, like what I discuss, what I know, what I don't know, because I don't want to be too braggy. Like I've been in music, so I don't want to say, "Oh, I'm a musician and I did this." So I don't want to. So I dumb things down. A lot of times when I speak to a guest, I say, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing." They're like, "Oh, I didn't know that, right?" But I had someone to say, "I don't think that I'm for your. I don't think that." She said, "I listened to one podcast." She listened to one podcast, and she said, "I don't think that we would be a good mesh. I can have a conversation about spirituality. I can have a conversation about mindfulness. I can have a conversation about yoga. So if you listen to the wrong episode, you will not you'll miss the point." But you said something, and I've had a lot of conversations in the last 2 weeks about AI that I've never heard. We have 5 generations that are going through this transformation at the same time. And I said
Mhm.
3.5 years, but you're saying 2 years. window short. That means we have 24 months.
Yeah, to adopt and adapt to what's coming, because the changes are already huge. If you think about AI, I still meet a lot of business owners that they say, "Oh, I heard about ChatGPT. I have an account, but I never used." But at the same time, we are seeing that we as consumers are getting very used, even when we are not aware. Simple thing: if you watch Netflix every night, you're using AI, right? If you have smart glasses, smart watches, let's not say the name of the device in the room that can make purchases and wake you up, all these things are already here. But want to know something interesting? During COVID, we had to go inside the houses, right? And we stayed there for a while. There was this trend already with the older generation, which Fate Popcorn, which is a futurist, said cocooning. But we, with during COVID, we amplified that, and we started being more comfortable at home. When that ended, we had most people working from home, and now it became this safe place that I can cater to myself. Meaning, I can have all the AI devices I want to, turn on the lights and things like that. So the house now is something that is about me much more than it was before COVID, right? So this is isolating us more and more like human beings. First of all, because in your case, in my case, we don't need to be in a geographical space in order to work, right? We can be anywhere in the world doing podcasts, consulting, and doing all these things. So we spend most of our day with a relationship with devices, right? And then with AI, if you're using GPT, Claude, any other tool, you're brainstorming business ideas with them. If you're not, you should, because it's very good. It gives you somebody that understands your perspective, which we usually don't have around us. Like entrepreneurs, you said, I like music, I like this. Well, most of successful entrepreneurs did a lot of things in their lives, right? Because they like new challenges all the time. But when it comes to expressing themselves with others, we usually don't see the feedback that we want because they have another type of life. So we are catering all this and all the AI in our house for us, but we are losing a little bit of our social skills. And the younger the generation, the worse it's getting, right? If you ever had Gen Zers as employees, you have noticed that they hate conflict, they don't deal well with conflict, and they don't like difficult conversations whatsoever. Part of it is how we are also using technology to raise our kids. If you're having dinner with your family, right? And I hope you do, because it's quite common with Americans, each one goes to their room to eat. But if you're having a dinner with family and you have a young 2 or 3 year old person there, that person will be with a device, being entertained. And she will not see when you make a face if it's too salty. She will not see when you say, "This is very good, I want more." You will not see the interactions between you and your spouse. And when they grow up, they don't know how to navigate conflict and conversations because they were not exposed to. So it is amazing because this changes. I said 2 years because this year, especially, we are going to see a lot of changes related to AI and us. And that is why, if I am a business owner, I'm still in denial, I am going to be left behind.
You said you've been in business for 35 years. Usually people have a difficult time adapting to transformations. The way that you're talking, you sound as an expert at the forefront of these transformations. How can I, how would you describe yourself, and what gives you such flexibility that you are even having these conversations, embracing what's going on, and and being at the forefront, championing what's going on? Well, a lot of people are scared.
I think one of the things is to accept that the only consistent thing that you have in life is change. Most people hate change. I take change as new challenges, and I am a problem solver. That is why I am an entrepreneur. I like challenges. So I try always to adapt. I'm not saying I'm super open-minded to everything, but life has taught me that change is a constant and overcoming obstacles. After all, I am a woman, I am a Latina, I am an immigrant. My daughter is gay. We have to face things every single day. right? And more now than in a long time. So we have to be able to adapt fast. And in business, it's not different, right? The first to market, the speed to market are important concepts for what we do. So if we take the position of, I'm going to wait to see what happens, that's when you are left behind, right?
Well,
So you have an idea, you have to go and implement that idea. And that's what I try to do. And, I try to live the fact that age is an abstract concept imposed by people. I don't have to follow any rules related to my age. That allows me to navigate into other generations, because I find very interesting, the changes that we have. Like I said, 5 generations with total different stories behind them. And it's interesting to see where we are all going, because after all, we are all going
well,
to.
and this is the thing. If you're listening, we're gonna go if we like it or not. So COVID was a hard reset, and I talked to a lot of my friends who are pastors who are still fighting to get people back in the building. I'm like, for one, Facebook is not a doesn't mean that you have having a Facebook or YouTube page doesn't mean that you have a social media
Yeah.
or online ministry. You got to really dig a little bit deeper. Two, people are not, even if you have a handful of people coming into the brick and mortar space, eventually the brick and mortar space is going to dissipate. If you're listening, ride through your neighborhood, ride up and down your block in the in industrious areas, you'll see a lot of boards on the windows because people are not coming back out.
Yep.
How have you been able to survive, and how have you been able to help other entrepreneurs understand the customer behavior of this time? Because there's two different thought processes from customers pre-COVID and post-COVID. Me, a pre-COVID thought process was I need to feel the fabric. I wanted to go to the store. I wanted to feel the hustle and bustle. I'm a New Yorker. I just like being out. Post-COVID, hey, if I can get it, and they're bringing in 5 minutes.
Yep. Yep. We are doing that. And imposes challenges not only to churches, but to guilds, to any type of association. And which is fascinating, because if you think, churches have the best structure for loyalty that you ever see. Actually, the best book that I ever read was How to Market a Mega Church. It was a book
Mm.
this big, amazing book. But why? Because it has all the components for an attractive marketing, right? It has the levels of ascension. It has mystery. It has everything in place. But it's still like the other associations, they are having a hard time. Mainly because I think we all need to change the perspective on how we approach people. People like my age, for example, baby boomers, we were trained to be loyal. We were trained to be 20 years in one job. We were
Yeah.
trained not to change banks and things
The
like
gold
that.
watch. You get the gold watch.
Exactly. I mean, we were trained for that. We were trained to be small cogs in the machine, right? Well, the younger generation is not like that, has not been trained like that. They have a very hard time not only engaging, but being loyal to brands, to churches, to anything. And why is that? Because their values are different than my generation. They care a lot more about, okay, what are you doing to impact your community for real? Right? Can I see the raw side of what you do? Those things are not too perfect, right? And when we market, most of the time, we want to say we're perfect. We want to talk about the features that we offer. How many meetings do we have? That's not appealing to them. So we have to think not about features, but about futures. Who they become by working with you. So who do I become by embracing your faith? Who do I become by attending and being socialized by this type of community? Right? So all the verbiage, all the things there are to be done need to shift, because, unfortunately, knocking at the door is not going to do anymore, because most of us do not open
Open
the
your
door,
door.
period. It's dangerous. Who wants to? Right? I have friends that if I don't schedule by phone 3 days before, I will not go inside their houses. So this has changed, and once human behavior changes, it never goes back.
No.
So I've been on several boards, several guilds, and it's always the same thing. We cannot bring the younger people. We cannot bring new members. What do we do? Well, first of all, change the approach. Second, be really welcoming to a different type of person that you're used to, because the younger person will come with different ideas, different approaches, different ways of doing things that have been done for centuries, right? And we need to be not welcoming, really accept that they have changed as human beings.
I think that we don't have, and because we're talking about customers, I think that we're not conditioned embrace, especially as entrepreneurs, to embrace somebody saying, I understand what you're saying, and that I understand that that worked, but that ain't working right now. We get offended.
Yeah.
You're doing a unique job. You're helping people to understand and embrace customers. That can be broad. It can also be narrow. How did you get into that field, and how did you know that you was good at it?
I have studied human behavior. The first time I went to college, I didn't graduate, but I went through the 4 years I did psychology. So I was always fascinated. And what fascinated me about it was when I was studying anthropology and understanding that
Yeah.
tribes have their ways. And one thing that stuck with me, I heard that when I was 18, and it's still top of my mind, is that in an indigenous situation, when a child comes to be in the teens, they're given a task like open the door of the house. And no matter how heavy the door is, no matter how difficult it is, they don't help the child. The child will have to figure out how to open the door. So, this Native American tribes, they don't have the problems with teenagers like we all do, right?
Because we
They go
fix
through
our
those
kids'
moss
problem.
triggers.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
What
sorry. I said because we fix our kids' problem.
is
We set them up to be successful more. Failure is more important than success. But anyway,
it is. There is an old Chinese saying, follow 7 times, stand up, fall 7 times, stand up 8. Failure is part of your journey. And when we over shelter people and don't allow them to experience, we will cause issues. And we are all, you said, I don't accept people that have a different opinion. What are we doing the whole day with our phone? We are blocking people that don't agree with us. We don't want to talk to people that voted different than we did, right? We are filtering what we get. And it's about to get a lot worse because Meta announced that it's going to put AI friends on Facebook and Instagram. So, of course, an AI friend will tell you everything that you want to hear, will always concur with you in everything that you say. It's going to be, people are going to find pleasure into having these relationships, but they're fake. And the thing is that it's very good for us to disagree. It's not a bad thing. And in sales, it's the same thing. You don't go for the yes when you're trying to sell, you actually want the objections because the yes is a easy way out. So if we are filtering everything we read, we listen to what I believe, well, how can I attract anybody that is different than me? How can I deal with difficult conversations? I can't.
well, you know that you said that, and my mind went 10,000 different places because that's how we create monsters.
Yeah.
Like, I don't talk politics on this show. I don't talk current events, but I have to use this as an example for those of you who are listening. We have a musical icon in jail right now thinking that, what did I do? Because nobody around him said, yo, bro, what you doing is,
Yes. Yeah.
and if we have this, and that's the fear that people have about AI, because we
Mhm.
can create a world where nobody's going to tell us that what we're doing is messed up.
Yeah, exactly. It's very complicated if everything that you have around you is always agreeing with what you're doing. We have to have boundaries as well as we have to put boundaries. We can also allow AI to make decisions for us because it can be very harmful. A simple thing, I use this example all the time. You're driving a AI car. There is going to be an accident no matter what. Who is going to make the decision of who is going to die? The passenger, you in your car, or the person crossing the road? Who is going to be responsible for that decision?
I just took a trip. I drove 12 hours. And I said, I don't know if I could ever trust a AI car to drive for me because so much stuff happens on the road that I need to
Mhm.
be attentive for.
Exactly.
I need
Too
to
many.
too many variables. And I
Mhm.
don't know if the and I'm not saying that AI is not that intelligent. I use AI and it's helped me. I was thinking about hiring an assistant and I'm like, well, this is like an assistant. I still I need an assistant for some other stuff, but not for what I was thinking of. And it's very, very helpful.
Mhm.
However, it can't see a deer running out of the bush. I don't
Yep.
know. I can see the deer running out of the bush, but I'm not gonna acquiesce to. So we still have to use our, and I know all sense is not common, but we still have to use our common sense in order.
Our quick thinking
Yeah.
all the time, right? I agree with you. I have no interest in driving an AI car. Plus, I love to drive, so I want to do it. I don't want something to do it for me. But yes, the critical thinking, because what we are seeing now is saying, I told you, you have to do the final decision, not the AI. But for example, I put a video on TikTok about a toddler playing a fake guitar. It's obviously a toddler and it's obviously a fake guitar with a nice song. And the amount of people commenting, what a voice. What a blessed child to be so smart. And you look at that and you say, there is no way this could be real. But people take it for real. Another example here at home, my daughter in law was applying for a job. She went to GPT and created her resume. No problem, right? But didn't read. So she went to the interview and they were talking to her and they said, wow, how amazing that you know this language. This is exactly what we are looking for. And my daughter in law hardly knows how to use a computer. So she didn't understand that language. And she had an embarrassing moment. Everything went fine. She got the job. But see, the critical thinking was not there. She accepted whatever ChatGPT output was without reading, without questioning, without anything. So this is the danger because these are harmless situations. But it could be something related to voting, could be something related to something not real happening that you're buying as truth. And, AI is doing that already, a lot of fake stuff. So you have to say, okay, first of all, I need to question. Questioning is good, doubting is good, right? And not accepting whatever comes towards you as, oh, it's better. Yes, it can be more intelligent than us. It can get, I don't know how many times more information that we can get, and it learns over time. So if we don't put boundaries on the personal use and then on a larger scale, we might face some hard situations.
Well, I thank you for what it is that you're doing and advising business owners on how to relate to customers in this day, in this time, and pointing out some key critical issues that a lot of people may have good grades, but they not may not be smart.
And
Listen, I'm not trying to downgrade anyone, but we understand that some people may be good at a thing and they still need the customer care. They still need the human touch. Even when we use the example as with churches and all those things, but there's still an element of a human interaction. If a mom loses her child, who's gonna hug you? Like
yeah,
who's
I-
gonna who's gonna embrace you as you're getting your message out. What is one of your key, if you had like three things that you want people to hold on to, what would those three things be?
I think for the business owner to understand that during COVID, we found many ways of avoiding customer service and we didn't put them back in place, right? Understand the human, like, let's talk about Americans, right? Because this is a podcast here. 1 in 5 Americans feel extremely lonely, and we are isolating ourselves every day even more. 1 in 3 Americans think they have a real friend. Most people think they don't have one real friend. So when that customer leaves the house and goes to your business, not only emotions are involved, is a new kind of behavior and a new kind of expectation. If I'm catering everything I have inside my home to myself, when I go to a business, I do expect hyper personalization. I want to be seen. I want to understand that I matter. I want to understand that you have to acknowledge my presence there in many different ways. So we need to do this. Now, how do we do this if we are busy doing whatever craft we do in our business? That's when automation and AI can help you a lot, because it can track the behavior of those people. You can send them messages, answer the phone, a bunch of stuff. But I need to understand this person coming to me is different than the person that came to me 4 years ago. And I need to cater to that. And allowing people to feel non-invisible is very important, right? And understanding that they want a little bit more, just providing them whatever service or product and bye bye, go your way, is not going to make them return. And it costs the business a lot more to get a new customer than to keep the old ones.
Yeah.
So you have to have stuff in place to keep these customers coming back.
Well, there you have it, everybody. I told you we sit you at the feet of the masses. All of, I don't want to mess up your name. Shoot,
Shahar.
Shahar's, all of Shahar's information is in our description. The website, social media handles, and everything that you need. If you need to help develop your customer, develop the systems that you just heard it describe, you might be out of touch or you might have started your business after COVID. You need a coach. And this is why she's here, to come and help you establish that voice. And that's what we do as business owners, as entrepreneurs. We establish a voice that
Yeah.
people can resonate with, and people will resonate with your voice long, if you establish it properly, long after you're gone. Shahar, if you can tell our audience of some books, nonfiction or fiction, over the course of your life, it doesn't have to be something that you just read, that impacted you in some kind of way, shape, or form, what would those books be?
Well, as a book, for example, is actually one of the latest that I read. Never Split the Difference
Yeah.
is a hostage negotiator that wrote that book, and it tells you so much about how humans behave. And again, to pay attention to that part, as entrepreneurs, we get very passionate about what we do, how we do it, and we think about growth. But the key component for us to move forward is really the consumer. Without them, we don't have anything. So it's important to try to understand how our brain is wired and then act accordingly, right? And you mentioned a coach, a consultant, a mentor. The fact is that whoever you decide to hire in the future, they are a pair of fresh eyes that they are not emotionally involved with your business, and that's why they are great, because we are always emotionally involved with our business. It's our baby, right? So it's harder to see clearly. And that's what a coach, a consultant, or a mentor would do.
There you have it. Listen, we don't ask you for cash apps, Venmos, Apple Pays, or anything like that. What we do ask you for is that you hit like and subscribe. Your subscriptions, your likes, and your comments, if you're listening on a platform that you can leave a comment on, helps these conversations get into the ears of the masses. So we ask that you would do that right now. Not only that, again, all of Shahar's information is in our description, and she's now a part of the Walk in Victory family. So don't walk with your head down. You might have 2 bags and a teddy bear, bringing your daughter to a whole nother experience, and you can still make it. Don't be afraid, because together we walk in victory. Peace.